Just about 2 days to go till the release of the matric examination results. Indeed, a nerve-wracking time for learners out there. Tell us how the Gender-Based Violence Command Center is going to be used to help these learners.
We've opened it so that it can be accessible to the matrics and also parents and caregivers, because parents are also equally anxious, you know, when their children are going to receive their results. So it's open for both the matriculants and the parents and caregivers. What happens is that you phone in and you speak to a social worker if you need counseling, if you are anxious, if you think you're going to fail or not do well as you thought you would be doing. You just call us on 0800 428 428, and for those who don't have airtime, you can also send a please call me. And essentially our system is that it also geolocates you. You don't have to tell us where you are. So once you call, we are able to know where you are. So even if it's an emergency, the social workers will be able to pick it up where it is, and then all the other services of government are linked to the Gender-Based Violence Command Center.
I see. So once a learner gets in touch with the center, of course, every case will differ. Tell us how exactly they are handled. You're saying they're put in touch with a social worker or psychologist in the area, but if that child or that learner needs emergency care, what is the process that's followed there? Are you in touch with social workers in that particular area if you're saying there is a geopolitical mechanism that can pick up the whereabouts of the child in need?
Yes, all other departments are also connected to the Gender-Based Violence Command Center. Once it's an emergency, we are also able to link you to 10111 if you need such help, or hospital if you need a hospital. But also around that area, we also have social workers that we link to, and organizations for that matter, if you want to talk to somebody or you want to be removed maybe from home. So usually, as the name says, it's for gender-based violence, but because now we also understand that it may be needed, for counseling for matriculants. So every year we open it up so that people can be able to speak to a social worker.
All right, take us through the counseling process. Of course, it's going to start with that first phone call when the learner actually makes contact with a social worker or psychologist or somebody on your staff. And then what's the process like? Is there follow-up counseling? Do social workers actually go out there and meet the learner?
Yes, if they want that that service can be arranged for them, because we have people on the ground and organizations, as I have said, that we can link them to services. We treat it as if it was going to, it is a gender-based violence case. And in this case, we would want to open it up for the matriculants.
All right, now we understand that the center is also open to deaf learners as well. How do these students use the services on offer, Lumka?
Yes, we have social workers that can sign, because we are the Department of Social Development, and we also have to make sure that we reach out to the deaf community. So if you have a Skype, you just add us on Help Me GBV, and we call you back as a department so that you can be able to speak to a social worker who is able to sign.
All right. Now, as per your statement, nearly 600,000 social grant beneficiaries sat for the matriculation exams. Now, when applying to institutions of higher learning, will they have to be means tested again, Lumka?
No, we've been working with the Department of Basic Education and SASA and NSFAS, so that those children who are writing matric now and are already on the social grant system, once they are accepted or they've passed well as well, they don't have to be means tested. They get automatically accepted by NSFAS, because we have found that if right now you are on the social grant, it means you are poor. So there was no need for NSFAS to means test you. So what we do now is that we've received the information of the learners who sat from the Department of Basic Education, and we use our IDs to match them. So we are able then to give all that to NSFAS, and then NSFAS take it further once then the students have been accepted at the institutions.
Lumka, I just want to shift focus for a moment. The Gender-Based Violence Command Center has been going now for about 6 years. What are the kind of calls that your staff are fielding every day?
It's your gender-based violence, others who also just want to talk to somebody, others who want to be removed from situations, that they don't want to be in. So it is the kind of the violence that we know, in South Africa.
Do you have any monitoring mechanisms in place at the center to actually evaluate the impact it's been making on the fight against GBV in the country so far?
The fact that there are calls, the calls have gone up.
Yes.
It tells us that people are aware. It tells us that people want to speak to somebody. It tells us that people want the service. And once we then give the services on the ground, it just tells you that this is a much needed service, and also the fact that it's unique, that you don't have to go to any police station. You don't have to go to anyone. You can sit at home and be able to speak to somebody, and actually that report can also be handed over to the police as a first statement for you.
Yes. On the note of the police, right here at the SABC newsroom, we've covered a number of stories where victims have gone to police and gathered enough courage to report the incident, but have been turned away. And it's very disappointing because the SAPS is the social front line, if you want to call it that, between the victim and the provision of services. How are we doing in terms of sensitizing our police, and how many calls of that nature do you actually receive at the center? Is that a frequent complaint from callers?
I would not have the numbers for you at the moment to say what are people complaining about the SAPS. We wanted to have a safe space, for instance, for victims by opening the gender-based violence. That was the main reason, was to say people must go to a place. They don't have to tell us as well where they are. We must be able to get to them. So it serves as that place where women and men, for that matter, can go to and feel safe.
Lumka, thank you so much for your time on the SABC News Desk. Lumka Oliphant is the Social Development Spokesperson, kind enough to join us today.
Thank you.